Where do you allow your imagination to take you? Where do you give your emotions free rein? And how do you impede it because of your fears or your doubts? We have a son, Trevor, who has a wonderful imagination. He had a book that had a title that became his mantra of what he wanted in life. And it was called, Mom, can I have a Stegosaurus? And Trevor would go around saying, Mom, can I have a Stegosaurus, please? And it's like, Trevor, where would we keep it? What would we feed it? Hey, they're not even around anymore. I couldn't even buy you one if I want. And I could go into this approach, or I could say, hey, that's a wonderful idea. We just can't do that now. And rather than saying no, he said, that's wonderful, but just not now. He says, hey, Dad, let's go to Disneyland. And rather than saying no and shutting him down, yeah, sounds good. We'll do that another day. Yeah, sounds good. We'll just do that another day. I'm tucking him at bed at night. And he says, Dad, can I have that white Ford 150 pickup truck, 4-door crew cab with 4-wheel drive? And rather than saying no, he said, yeah, in Dreamland you can do that. And so, rather than impeding the flow, rather than stopping it and denying it, is how can you support that flow of life without bringing the negativity into it, without bringing scarcity into it, without bringing lack into it? What can you do that just honors where it is you are? And the reason it is so important is because that child of my mind, I assure you, likes to say, hey, Christian, what about this? What about that? Hey, I've got the child of me has these desires. Like, I want enlightenment. Good idea, Christian, but just maybe not in this moment, I want to feel that oneness. Yeah, it's a great plan. It's like, am I able to do it? But we just fight. We just fight so hard for what it is that I want, forgetting that, what? Everything that's going on in my life is an integral part or a piece of a greater picture that I may not know. And if I'm living in the flow, if I'm living in a sense of trust, then I can begin to live with a sense that somehow it's playing in. Joseph and his brothers sold him into slavery. That story, and how it turned out good. What's going on in my life? I don't know how it's going to bless me later, but I fight for my position. I've got to trust. I got to go with that flow and let it take me where it will. But what happens is we try, I'm going to force my position. I'm just going to try another modality of healing to make it happen. This week I had a chance to address our people at the mayor's prayer breakfast, and Mr. Sylvester was there with his wonderful support. Rich, just one of the pillars of our church and the town with Dima. And one of the stories, that I shared with the town, trying to force our position and trying the different modalities, is I pointed out all the fabulous modalities our town offers in addition to the best medical offerings in the nation. We also have a vast array of other ways of healing. Not that any of these am I professing to do or making wrong. I just, from doing classes and asking people, hey, what different approaches to healing have you used? I shared the list, and we've tried. Here it is. We've tried acupuncture, past life regression, and all of us are our fair share of therapists and counselors. We have worked with our inner child, our anger, our inner critic, and if that didn't work, we tried some erotic dance. We have worked with chanting and visioning and meditating and affirming our way through our pain. And when that didn't happen, we sought the advice of nutritionists, life coaches, personal trainers, yoga teachers, gurus. And if that didn't work, we'd find an internist to prescribe some Prozac to us. We have cleansed our chakras, we have sniffed essential oils, we have burnt candles, we have laid down in energetically balanced mineral baths while listening to harmonically balanced music, burning imported incense from India. Yes, and if that didn't work, then we would try wearing amulets, putting magnets under our bed, moon rings on our fingers, flipping tarot cards, chakra cards, having our charts read, orbs and auras read. And if that didn't work, then some even try marrying an ultra-rich partner or a pretty young one. And there are a lot of approaches out there. That's to name just a few. But what I want us to realize is that if we can get out of that judgmental place of trying to make it the way I want it and surrender to the flow of life. And the only way you're going to be willing to surrender to that flow is if you trust it. And your God or your higher power is not a judgmental, wrathful kind of expression, but it is a life force, it is a love, it is an order. And when you begin to move beyond judgment, and the thing with judgment, if you've got judgment going on, and we get judgment, there's nothing wrong with taking it into your meditation and looking at it and seeing, what is it I'm judging? And once again, watch it come and watch it go, and recognize that you are not bound by what it is you're judging. You can choose to do something different than the pack is doing. If they're moving in a direction, you feel you need to stay in this particular moment because that flow or that heart or that essence says so. I don't need to have my intellectual understanding of it. I can say yes to that. And I can move with that. But the only way you become familiar is if you take time in that meditation place and observe it. And as you take time in meditation, it's not about who can sit there the longest becomes the wisest in meditation. I've seen chickens sit on eggs for days on ends. And I don't think they're the wisest of animals. Not that I tell them so, but it's being able to take this consciousness, this trust, this awareness into all the postures of your life. That means waking up in this awareness and this consciousness. It means going into your day, going to work, being in relationship with this kind of connectedness, and going back to that time of silence and the quiet mind, and going back and reconnecting and moving through the judgments and the fears and the doubts and the frustrations so you can cleanse, so you can flow, so you can be pure with what your gift is you have to share in this world. And as you share your gift, you become so much more richer. And so it is that continual cycle. It is the circulation that is life. There's this one lady asking this master teacher about meditation. She said, I have studied it, I'm reading it, and I continue to read the Buddhist approach, the Vipassana approach, and she would ask these intellectual questions, and the teacher finally said, well, wait a second. And do you have a regular meditation practice? And she said, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy reading about it. And he said, well, ma'am, it's like the woman who had a bunch of chickens in the chicken coop and goes around picking up the chicken poop instead of the chicken eggs, The meditation is the eggs. The meditation is the good. The meditation is that spirit. That meditation is what allows you to observe those blockages in your energetic field, in your consciousness. It is taking the time so you can once again be in that space that is pure and that flows. There's a wonderful story, it's been around a while, about Shay. He's this 10-year-old boy who is mentally and physically challenged. But he loves baseball. I mean, that's his thing. He's got that mind. He's got the statistics. He knows his team. He knows his players. He's got that down. He loves baseball. And one day, his dad and him were walking, and they saw some boys about his age, maybe a little older, playing a pickup game of baseball in the park. And so his dad went over with Shay so they could watch, and Shay just got to say, Daddy, can I play too? Can I play baseball? And Dad's, well aware of his abilities, particularly compared, to the other kids, but he didn't want to disappoint the enthusiasm of his son. And so he asked one of the boys in the dugout, can, Shay play with you guys? Little boy, he didn't know what to do. He asked his friends. They finally said, yeah, that's okay. There's only 2 innings left. We're down by 3 runs. We'll put him in the outfield. And so they put him in the outfield. No balls come out there, right field for kids that age. And they came back, but all of a sudden that team came back. And here it is, the last inning. They're only down by 1 run. The tying run is on third base, and there's 2 outs. And it's Shay's turn to bat. Well, the kids want to win. They're going to put in a pinch hitter. But they thought about it and said, we can't do that to Shay. You just can't do that. So they let Shay go up there. And that pitcher on the other side, he was the best. And he just fired that ball past Shea so fast, he didn't even see it. He swung, he was a mile behind it. It was like, wow. They threw it back, and then the pitcher realized, there's a little bit of a challenge there. So what that pitcher did out of the goodness of his heart is he just, slowed it down, just kind of threw the ball half the speed. And Shea, with all his might, just swung his bat and just a mile behind it again. So what the pitcher did is he came down off the mound and he lobbed the ball as slowly as he could. And Shea, with all his determination, just swung that bat and he connected with the ball. And it went about 5 feet. Just kind of rolled down, just stopped in front of the pitcher. The pitcher bent over, picked up instinct, fire at the first base. And as he was going to throw, he saw Shea running down the line in his awkwardness, and his heart took over. And so he threw the ball over the first baseman's head into outfield. Well, Dad is going berserk on the sidelines. He's going, run, Shea, run, Shea, run, Shea. And the tying run comes in from third base, and the kid in the outfield gets the ball, and Shea doesn't stop on first base. He's running now, and he's running around first base to second base with all of his might, and the guy in the outfield gets it, what's going on. So what the guy from the outfield does is he throws it over the shortstop's head, over second base, into the outfield, and the guy who's backing him up realizes what's happening as this kid's going to third base. He bends over and he lets the ball go between his legs. And now Shea's rounding third base, and everyone in the stands is up on their feet shouting, run, Shea, run, Shea, run, Shea. And this little kid runs across first home plate just with a smile, elated, filled with the gifts of friends and God. And his team won that day. Shea won that day. But I got to tell you, who were the biggest winners were those kids who created that experience that day and facilitated that flow for that experience to happen. I will assure you, Shea and everyone that was present on the field that day has one of those lasting memories 20 years, 40 years on down the line because they trusted the flow that was there. And so, as we think about the flow in our life, you're the one. You're the one. Yeah? The light of the universe. Just asking you to shine that with whoever's before you. Even if it's not the moment you had planned or what you had expected. Don't let the frustration get the better of you, the fear get the better of you, the doubt get the better of you, because that's all judgment. What I want you to do is to rise outside of that and know that in the moment you are in, you have whatever it takes to be fully present, to be in the flow, and to give of yourself that will make a difference. So I want all of us to do that. And the challenge for you this week is to make every day a Shea day where you're given. God bless you. Again, with a lot of heart and soul and passion. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Hey, I trust you enjoyed that podcast. It was very exciting to be able to create that and to know that there are people like you all around the world that are observing and integrating these spiritual principles into their life. And so if you enjoyed it, what I'd like to do is encourage you to tell a friend or bring several friends together and watch another one of these podcasts. And then afterwards, take some time to talk about the spiritual principles, to talk about the stories and what significance they have and relevance they have in your life. What then happens is it moves to a deeper and deeper level in your world. It becomes real and assists you to create the freedom in your life that your heart and soul so desire. So if you like this, I encourage you to watch it again, but also tune into our website here at seasidecenter.org. There, you can get some of my written material and take a look at it. You can read some of my spiritual prayers. You can even go to our online bookstore and order some of the books. And if you're so moved, what I greatly would appreciate is your financial support, which you could do online at seasidecenter.org.
It is support like yours that assists us to be able to continue to do these kinds of gifts for humanity and send it out to the world. Because you know what? We are making a difference with this spiritual message. And because of support like yours, people are being touched in the farthest reaches of this planet, as well as our backyard, more than we could ever begin to realize. So I thank you from the fullness of my heart for making a difference.